Hey everyone, welcome to Dave's Bonsai. On today's episode, it's a trip to the Grand Canyon. I have a couple of updates for you a little bit later in the show, but first up, on this really cold February day, it's the 2nd of February, and we're on the downward side again of another roller coaster week, month. It's been a pretty tough 30 to 40 days where we've been up and down. 30 just 2 days ago. Today we barely hit 7. Lows below 0, wind chills into the 20 to 30 below range. It's just downright cold. And then we're supposed to get near 30 by one of the days of the weekend. And then next week, I think we're supposed to have single digits for highs again. It's all over the map. So in this middle of the cold, dreary, even though it's getting lighter longer here in Minnesota, it's cold. So let's share some of the Grand Canyon trip, shall we? What started as trips to the North Shore of Minnesota turned into road trips to the Smoky Mountains, Montana, one of our favorite places, Utah, several times. For this trip, my daughter and her boyfriend joined us as we descended down into the Grand Canyon. The road trip began as we traveled on day 1 all the way to a KOA just west of Denver, Colorado, in the amazing Rocky Mountains. And what did I notice about our campsite? That's right, the backbudding on the trees that surrounded our tents. Only bonsai nuts notice stuff like that, right? Next, we headed to Moab, Utah, perhaps my son's favorite place to visit on these road trips. This was the 3rd time in as many years we hit Moab for at least one day, and we will return. The last few miles along the Colorado River as you enter Moab, stunning. One of our favorite places to just get out, look at the river, and the beautiful blue sky, and of course all the cliffs. Our first hike was the Narrows hike in Zion National Park. We brought our water shoes and we made sure we stopped and took a look around from time to time. Of course, I had a peek at all the vegetation, especially the tree forms. The trees were a little few and far between, but you can bet I noticed every one of them. After our amazing Zion hikes, we settled down into our teepee sleeping quarters at the Flagstaff KOA to get up early and drive to the Grand Canyon National Park to start our descent. And though we started way too late in the morning, yes, novice Grand Canyon hikers for sure, we made our way down the over 4.5-mile hike to our first night's campsite. Do you see that trail way down there? That was the trail we took our last night at the campsite to the breathtaking plateau. More to come on that one. Our second day in the canyon was both exciting and scary. This approximately 5-mile hike took us deeper into the canyon towards Phantom Ranch. We thought there was water stop at about 1.5 miles from the ranch, but it was just a bathroom, so we were a little nervous about our water left, what we had left. We crossed the suspension bridge though and refreshed in the very cold stream before purchasing some snacks with my son's Apple Pay with only about 5% battery life left on his phone. We soaked back up for the walk back where literally we caught up to some deer. And then as we got closer to the base camp, we got to see more and more trees, which of course always got me a little bit more excited. Vegetation in the canyon consists of over 1,500 species of vascular plants, 167 species of fungi, 64 species of moss, and about 195 species of lichen. At the rim of the canyon, you'll see more of the ponderosa pines, oaks, elderberry, lupines, along with Engelmann spruce. There's blue spruce and Douglas fir, and down near base camp we saw some very big aspen trees, along with what I believe were the catclaw acacia trees. The banana and narrowleaf yuccas were very interesting to see as well. It was truly amazing to be in such a hot climate and see such vegetation down near the bottom of the canyon. Such beauty were the trees, which provided needed shade from the over 100-degree heat on most days down at the bottom. The last hike on our last evening in the canyon before an early morning ascent was out on the plateau, a very flat hike from base camp that took us on an overlook that is unbelievably breathtaking. And as much as I loved looking at all the views around this plateau, I needed to stand back a little bit. As I get older, seeing my children on the edge of these cliffs gets me just a wee bit uneasy. But I persevered and got a few photos, though I probably won't need the photos because I do not think I will ever forget this trip to the canyon. The first update for today is the variegated Benjamina, the little forest here that we lost the one tree, but we cut it way back, made some hard cuts. But we have some really nice young growth growing in here. We have some nice growth going over here, and this tree got really thick already with a whole bunch of growth, and I've actually cut off a real long one that came up real high. I took that off already, and there's some new leaves in here, so this is all slowly starting to fill in. I can't wait to see what this does this summer. We'll just let it take off and grow. So the variegated Benjamina is doing okay, no losses. That's always a good thing. One of our Premnas that we cut from a really tall sucker, we cut it in half. It's getting this nice long branch here now. So we've got some subdivision down below with a branch in the back here. We have this branch down here. And as I just showed you this here, this is a couple inches long. And up top it's divided into a couple too, left and right. So still growing strong, dividing, and ready to become a tree. I wanted to show you the Fukian tea, the finicky Fukian. So this past year in 2021, I took a day in the life of the Fukian tea for 365 days and took all kinds of pictures. And after I cut this way back, which you can see in a couple of episodes ago, look for the Fukian tea video playlist, this thing looked like it was gonna die again. Again, finicky Fukian, I cut it way back. And then I had a little bit of white aphids on here, some aphid infestation. I cleaned it off again, and now all of a sudden, boom! It's just come to life in the last week or so. So this Fukian is just all over the map. And I was a little concerned with the other tree, one of my melon seed ficuses. This also was a part of my 365-day challenge, and I went to go prune this too, and you can see that in a couple episodes ago, and I cut it way back as well. And as you can see, very slow to grow, but if you can look real closely on the trunk of this tree, there's all kinds of little growth right there on the trunk of the tree. So there's a couple of buds all there. This is alive and it's going to kick out a whole bunch of new growth. So the top half of what's left of this tree might not even survive, but all those little buds down below around this tree is going to make this an interesting tree, probably in the summertime when I let it grow like crazy. So let's look at the back of it as well. And you can see some of those buds, those light green tiny little buds. So we're going to be okay. So there's the melon seed ficus and the Fukian tea. You can look back at the year in the life, 365 photos, or give or take about 330 photos of these trees, and see how they did. And they're still doing it, although boy, they sure made me a little nervous this time around. My second to last update before the big reveal update of the fish tank, the bonsai pot tank, that's coming up in a second. But my forest in my grapewood that I put a glaze over that, and I got these 5 trees into the log. We did lose that one tree. The moss is starting to green up a little bit, so I might get some new moss growth in there. That'll be nice. The trees are all doing pretty good. I got some little leaves growing up on this one up here, so there's a little bit of leaves that look like they're stressed out, but everything's growing. The Benjamina loves it in here, and the Premna on the back here. These are Melinas, and the Premna's back here. So we'll put another tree up here. We've got this little clump here of a forest in the grapewood. So that's doing okay too. Everything's enjoying life in the plant room. My final update for you today is the bonsai pot tank. Here is the left side of the trees, and let's take a closer look here. We got the front tree that's doing okay. We did a little bit of trimming and we've lost some leaves, a little bit of stress from the transplant. And the left 2 trees are doing okay. Haven't lost a ton of leaves. This branch has right here. So they're doing okay. The back trees looking okay, but this tree right here, let's get a little close up on that tree right there. So as we look at the 2 back trees, the one on the right is looking okay, but the one on the left is a little bit droopy. Yeah, the leaves just kind of looking like they just didn't get enough moisture, the stress of the transplant. So we might have to put a new tree there in place of that one. But the one on the right is doing okay. So as we pull back again, we have a forest on that left side that looks okay. We'll keep an eye on everything else. As we move to the left side, there we have the big old tree up in the front. We've made a few more trims since the last update, episode number 14. The 5-tree forest in the back is doing pretty good, loving life, and the back tree is leaning back there and looking okay too. And then as you come down and look into the fish tank, we got that lower submerged tree. We got a little bit of rocks in there, bonsai soil that didn't float up to the top. Little bubbler, making it look like we have more of a fierce waterfall, if you will. That was a suggestion from one of the viewers. Thank you very much. So I've got that bubbler right underneath where that water comes out of our little water source there. So we are ever so close to putting this into its spot on the new stand and adding some fish and making this a finality. So here is the update on the stand. The update on the stand is we've got a couple of coats of the smooth glaze on there, so that's going to make sure the water just drips right off and doesn't ruin the wood on top. So that's a shiny finish, and the sides are a matte finish, and I'm not too worried about that. And on the inside though, we still have to make a little shelf in there to collect all the water that's going to come out when we water the bonsai pot tank. So kind of a shiny finish on top, which most of that will be covered up. We got to make sure the water is going to flow freely in there into our little little holders, maybe some small buckets, some small canisters of some sort that's going to hold the water. So there's the tank. I do not have the door for the tank yet. We'll have to make that in the future as well. I want to make sure the shelf gets in there, the water, it goes where it's supposed to go, and when everything's all set for several days, a couple of weeks, I think then I'll put that door on the front so we don't see all that stuff. But I need to have access to go in the stand up and inside there to go up into the pot to make sure everything's working properly. So that's in its place, ready for a tank. But before I can put the tank over there, the pot tank, I'm gonna need my son. The bonsai pot tank is looking pretty slick. I'm very pleased with most of it. I'm not gonna get into the things that I'm not pleased with at the moment, but the update is I've got the sphagnum moss, the rocks, the water is turned up. It's getting ready, getting that good bacteria for the fish. It's been in here for over a week. The trees are okay. Everything is ready for the next stage. It's all very exciting. The fish tank pot, the bonsai pot tank, this contraption is coming close to a finish. We'll be looking for some fish in the coming week to put in here, going to the store and checking on that. We're gonna make sure all these trees are gonna survive, and we're gonna put this big old beast, probably over 100 pounds, maybe 80 pounds, 90 pounds, over here onto the stand, and that's gonna be its new home. I also have to get some lighting for the trees. So I ordered a light, and it'll light the trees and light the water, so you'll be able to see that also. We'll have to be careful to watch the algae levels with that as well, but I do have an algae eater already in another tank to put in here. I'm just so excited. Hey, if you want to see some more pictures of the Grand Canyon, check out my son's YouTube channel. I'll give you a link to the, well, it's the Grand Canyon through the eyes of my son, through his camera, through his eye. So check out more images of the Grand Canyon if you're interested on the link in the description. And that's going to do it for another show. Hey, thank you so much for watching. Click like, subscribe would be awesome. And we're going to catch you very, very soon, hopefully with a finale. So we're going to premiere the finale of this pot tank contraption in the next week or two. Stay close. Yeah, we'll give you some warning on that. We're going to premiere it live, and I hope that some of you join me live, and we'll chit chat on our chat, on the chat function, and we'll look at the last video with all the trees and the fish in their glory, hopefully within the next couple of weeks. All right, take care of you, take care of your bonsai, and we'll catch you very, very soon.